You ever hear someone say, "The devil wears lipstick"? Yeah, mine wore crimson red. Her name was Ashley, and she knew how to weaponize charm like a loaded pistol. It was exactly 2:08 a.m. when I woke up to the faint glow of my phone screen flickering on the nightstand. At first, I thought I was dreaming, the kind of dream where you feel half drowned in confusion. But no, it was real. Ashley was bent over my phone, her long nails tapping away like a hacker in a spy movie. She froze when she saw me watching. "Just checking the weather," she muttered. "At 2 in the goddamn morning?" I didn't argue. Not then. Not right away. Because in that split second, my gut told me something my brain wasn't ready to handle yet. I played dumb. Rolled over. But I didn't sleep a damn second after that. Something was off. Way off. The next morning, Ashley acted sweeter than syrup, pancakes, coffee, that fake little humming she did when she wanted to seem innocent. But when she kissed me goodbye before heading to yoga, I noticed she didn't take her mat. What she did take, though, was my attention. Because the moment she left, I opened my banking app. Or tried to. Password error. Try again. Then I remembered the one thing Ashley never knew. I had a second, hidden account. A little nest egg I kept for emergencies, stashed away in a completely separate banking app. I opened it. Balance, $38.56. I nearly choked. That account had just over $500,000. That's when the adrenaline hit. I checked the transaction log. One withdrawal after another. Wire transfers, travel bookings, luxury rentals. And all of them routed through my phone. My fingerprint. She'd somehow installed spyware or a banking app clone and siphoned my credentials. I sat there, frozen, phone in hand, staring at the empty shell of my life. But it got worse. So much worse. 2 days later, she came back. Tanned. Glowing. Laughing. She swung open the front door like a returning queen, dragging a suitcase that probably cost more than our couch. "God, it was amazing," she said, tossing her heels across the room. "The Maldives? Beyond magical." I didn't say a word. Not yet. She looked me dead in the eyes, smirking, then said, "Thanks to your mobile, I really enjoyed spending your $500,000. I blinked. A smile broke across my face. And then, I laughed. Not the kind of laugh that says, "I'm okay." The kind that makes your skin crawl. Because what she didn't know was that the account she emptied, it wasn't mine. Not really. I had linked my fake app to an old burner account, one I used to test bank integrations for a tech firm I worked with years ago. A ghost account. The real money? Safely untouched. "Hope you enjoyed the Monopoly money," I said calmly. Her smirk faltered. "What? You heard me. You and your boyfriend just funded a 5-star vacation with digital Play-Doh." Her jaw twitched. "You're lying." I pulled out a flash drive and dropped it on the kitchen counter. Full transaction trail. Every IP, every login, every unauthorized attempt. I already sent it to the bank's fraud department. And guess what? That little stunt of yours? Federal crime. Ashley's face twisted. But instead of apologizing, she scoffed. "Oh, please. Like anyone's going to believe your pathetic boy story. You're just mad because someone finally beat you at your own little games." And that's when it hit me. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't even pretending. Ashley had never loved me. She loved my money. My house. My name. I was a walking, talking ATM with a heartbeat. And now that she thought she drained me dry, the mask dropped completely. "You should have seen his hands," she whispered, suddenly shifting. "So much stronger than yours." She wanted me to snap. To lose it. To give her grounds. But I just nodded. Cold and calm. "You're going to wish you'd never come back here, Ashley. Because this wasn't just betrayal. This was war." I didn't sleep that night. Not because of the money. Hell, the money was safe. But because I looked into the eyes of the woman I married and saw nothing. No guilt. No flicker of hesitation. Just venom, polished and perfumed. Ashley took a long, steaming shower that night, humming like she didn't just try to rob me blind. I sat in the kitchen, lights off, phone in hand, replaying everything. The deleted messages, the late-night calls from blocked numbers, the sudden new lingerie she claimed she bought on sale. I should have seen it sooner. But love makes you blind, and trust? Trust turns that blindness into a coma. When she finally came out, wrapped in a towel, she looked at me like I was some distant memory, like a guest overstaying his welcome. "What? Still crying over your fake bank account?" she sneered. I stood up. "Who is he?" She blinked, smiled. "You don't really want to know." I do. She rolled her eyes, strolled over to the fridge like we were just two roommates having a mild disagreement. His name's Tyler. You remember him, right? The guy who fixed our garage door last summer. She laughed. Guess he fixed more than just that. My fists clenched before I realized it. But I didn't move. You let that guy into our house. You let him touch you in our bed. She shrugged. What can I say? He knows how to handle things. You? You just overthink everything. It wasn't even the cheating that burned me alive. It was her pride. She wore her betrayal like a medal. And that smug look on her face? That was when something inside me cracked. I walked past her, straight to the bedroom, opened my closet, and pulled out the safe. She was still at the fridge when she noticed what I was doing. You're not seriously thinking of kicking me out, she said, closing the door with her hip. You think you can just pack my life into a box and walk away? No, I said, unlocking the safe. I'm not packing your life. I'm securing mine. Inside the safe wasn't just cash. It was everything she never knew I kept. Notarized papers, copies of our prenup, and a hidden camera I'd planted months ago when I first started suspecting she wasn't just going to yoga. I tossed the flash drive back in and closed it. When I turned around, she was staring at me, her smirk finally gone. What's on that? She asked. I didn't answer. Her voice raised. What did you record? Still nothing. She lunged forward, tried to grab the safe, but I stepped aside and let her fall to the ground. She screamed, a loud, shrill sound that echoed through the hall. You're a psycho. You think anyone's gonna believe you over me? I'll say you hit me. I'll tell the cops you've been spying on me. I looked down at her. I have been spying on you, Ashley. That's the whole point. She stilled. The emails, the voice recordings, the footage. You weren't even careful. You got sloppy. Drunk. You left your panties in the guest bathroom. You think I wouldn't notice? She backed up slowly, standing now, her confidence shaking. I was gonna leave you anyway, she said suddenly, trying to regain ground. You're boring. A coward. I need a real man. I smiled. And now you'll have plenty of time to find one. Alone. She stormed toward me like she wanted to slap the soul out of my face, but I caught her wrist midair. Try that again, I warned. And I'll make sure your boyfriend gets a personal call from my lawyer. He'll love what I've got on that drive. Fraud, conspiracy, unauthorized access to a federal account. You think he's ready to lose his job over a little midnight fling? Her eyes widened. Finally. Fear. You wouldn't. I already did. Her breath hitched. You think I didn't trace every transaction? Every GPS ping? You stole from me. But worse, you mocked me. That's the part one won't forgive. Silence. Then she walked away. No tears. No apology. She just walked into the bedroom and shut the door like we just had a minor spat about dinner. But I didn't go after her. I sat back down at the kitchen table and stared out the window. There was a breeze picking up, rustling the trees. It reminded me that everything moves eventually. Nothing stays still. Not even betrayal. It blows in, it shakes your world, and it always leaves wreckage behind. But wreckage can be rebuilt. And I wasn't done yet. I barely slept again, and by the time the sun cracked through the blinds, the house felt different. Colder, emptier, like the walls knew what she'd done. Ashley stayed in the bedroom until noon. When she finally walked out, her hair was still messy, mascara smudged under her eyes like she'd been crying. But she wasn't crying for me. That woman cried for herself. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, legs crossed, phone in hand. Probably texting Tyler. Or maybe her backup plan if he bailed. You're really going to go through with this? She asked, like she couldn't believe I had the audacity. Yeah. You're going to ruin my life over a little mistake? A little mistake. That's what she called draining $500,000 and sleeping with the garage guy. That's what she called planting spyware on her husband's phone while he was asleep. I didn't answer her. She tapped her nails on the table. You really think people are going to feel sorry for you? Some stiff in a tie, crying because his wife found a better man. I looked up. Better? He's a part-time handyman with a record for assault. She paused. Blinked. I found his file, I added. You really don't think I'd look up the guy who was in my house while I was at work? The guy who left beer cans in my garage? You think that's your upgrade? He's more of a man than you'll ever be, she hissed. That one stung more than I wanted to admit. Ashley stood, walked toward me like a storm. She leaned down close. The scent of her perfume still familiar, still poison. You're pathetic, Liam. Always so careful. So safe. You think money makes you powerful, but it makes you weak. That's why I took it. Because you'd never fight back. You just absorb it. Like a sponge. I stared her straight in the face. You're right. I did absorb it. For months. But I'm not a sponge anymore. She laughed, threw her head back like it was all a show to her. Oh, so what now? You gonna throw me out? No, I said. You're going to walk out. Today. On your own. Because the moment you walk back in, the restraining order kicks in. The blood drained from her face. I filed it this morning, I continued. Emergency protection order. Cited financial abuse, digital surveillance, psychological manipulation. The court approved it an hour ago. Police have a copy. If you're within 50 feet of this house after today, you're in violation. She tried to speak, lips parting like she had a comeback loaded and ready, but nothing came out. You're insane, she finally managed. Insane enough to survive you. Ashley stormed off without another word. I heard the closet doors slam, drawers opening, the sound of her tossing clothes into a bag. I stayed at the table, not moving, not reacting. She passed by me 20 minutes later, dragging a suitcase, eyes glassy but pride intact. She paused at the door. You'll regret this, she said, voice low. I already regret meeting you. Then she left. Just like that. The silence afterward was the loudest thing I've ever heard. Not even the fridge humming. No birds outside. Just the creak of wood under my feet when I finally stood up. I walked into the bedroom, stripped the sheets off our bed, opened every window. Let the wind sweep through like a reset. The scent of her still lingered on the pillow, and I hated that I noticed. But what really hit me, the punch that finally folded my knees, was the realization that I loved her. Not just the version I thought she was, but the woman I imagined every time she looked at me like I mattered. She never existed. And that grief? That was the hardest part. Not the betrayal. Not the money. But mourning someone who was never real. I didn't go to work for 3 days. Didn't answer calls. My phone buzzed nonstop. Messages from friends, a couple from Ashley's mother asking why Ashley suddenly moved out, and one voicemail from Ashley herself. Just 10 seconds of silence, followed by a sigh and the sound of a car engine. I deleted it. On the 4th day, I stood in the garage and stared at the empty shelf where Tyler's toolbox once sat. The bastard had left it behind one afternoon and came back the next day with Ashley to pick it up. That was their first real moment alone in my house. I remember offering them both water, watching them from the kitchen, thinking nothing of it. God, I was blind. I opened the cabinet, grabbed a bottle of bourbon I'd been saving since my promotion, and poured a drink at noon. No glass, just straight from the bottle. Midway through the burn, my laptop dinged. Email from my lawyer. Subject, confirmed recording. I clicked the file and watched. It was silent footage from the guest bedroom camera I'd planted weeks ago, barely bigger than a button, hidden behind the curtain rod. I saw her, and him, laughing, drinking, stripping, climbing onto the bed like they owned the place. He whispered something into her ear. She laughed, loud. She didn't even close the door. I watched the whole thing, every damn second, not because I needed proof, but because I wanted to kill the version of her that still lived in my head. The one who made coffee with a sleepy smile. The one who cried during sad movies and kissed me when I was sick. That version had to die. And that video was the bullet. I spent the rest of the day gathering what was left of her. Clothes, jewelry, letters, her box of old cards, and movie tickets. I dumped it all into the trash. The final piece was our wedding photo. She looked like an angel that day, eyes bright with lies. I burned it. The next night, I ran into Tyler. Yeah, at a gas station, of all places. I was paying for cigarettes I didn't even smoke anymore. And there he was, standing by pump 6. Leaning against a black Dodge Challenger, Ashley in the passenger seat. He saw me, smirked. Ashley didn't look over. She just pulled out her phone. He walked up to me like we were old friends. Liam, right? I didn't respond. She told me you were a little wound up. Thought maybe you'd cool off by now. He stepped closer. Too close. Listen, man. No hard feelings. I mean, if she wasn't happy. I hit him. Not hard enough to knock him out. Just enough to make his nose bleed and his ego shrink. The clerk inside yelled something, and Tyler lunged at me, but I was already in the car. Drove off with my heart hammering so loud I thought it'd crack my ribs. That night, I stared at myself in the mirror and didn't recognize the man looking back. Unshaven, hollow-eyed, drenched in silence. But something shifted. I realized I wasn't broken. I was just unfinished. Everything she'd done, everything she stole, Every night she spent in my bed with someone else's name on her lips. It didn't define me. It tried to break me. And yeah, maybe it cracked a few parts. But I was still standing. And that scared her more than anything. Because I didn't crumble. I started writing. Not just journaling. Letters to myself. Lists. Plans. I booked sessions with a therapist. Bought new sheets. Changed the locks. Erased every password she ever knew. I even started sleeping again. Real sleep. The kind where you don't wake up panicked, sweating over what she's doing now or who she's doing it with. I didn't care anymore. Because for the first time in years, I was alone. But not lonely. It was about 3 weeks after Ashley left when her lawyer reached out. She wanted a conversation, which was code for, she figured out the money wasn't real and now she's panicking. My attorney advised me to ignore the bait. Let her stew in her own greed. But Ashley wasn't the type to stew quietly. That night, around 9 p.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the camera. It was her, dressed to impress in some tight black dress that screamed desperation more than style. I didn't answer. She rang again, then started knocking. I cracked the door, but kept the chain on. She smiled like nothing had happened. Can we talk? Court's in 2 weeks. You can talk there. Her face dropped a bit. You're seriously going through with it? I was serious the moment you chose him. She scoffed. Oh, come on, Liam. You know we were already falling apart. No, I said. You were just falling into someone else's bed. She didn't flinch. You think you're better than me? I think I'm not a thief. That did it. Her face twisted into that familiar mask, fake pity laced with pure venom. I made one mistake, she said, stepping closer. You're going to throw away a whole marriage for that. One mistake. I pulled out my phone, opened the Notes app. Let's go through the list. Spying, stealing, cheating, lying, mocking me to my face, dragging me through emotional hell, and doing it all while sleeping in my house. You stopped being my wife the moment you started being a parasite. Her mouth opened, then shut again. She tried to push the door, but the chain held. You don't get to play the victim, I said. Not here. She backed off, but not before throwing one final grenade. You'll miss me. No, I said quietly. I'll miss who I thought you were. And I closed the door. I stood there for a minute, listening to the sound of her heels on the concrete as she stormed off. No part of me wanted to chase her. That version of me, the man who made excuses for her, who apologized for asking questions, who swallowed his pride to keep her happy, he was gone. The weeks that followed were quiet, but that kind of quiet that feels earned. I started working out again, something I hadn't done in over a year. I cleaned out every inch of the house, repainted the walls, reclaimed my space. I even changed the bedroom, moved the bed to the other side, new mattress, new furniture. No trace of her left. But healing doesn't move in a straight line. One night, I found myself scrolling through old pictures. Us at the lake. Her birthday in Chicago. The honeymoon. And for a second, just a second, I wondered if any of it was real. Did she ever love me? Or was it always just strategy? I'll never know. And maybe that's the part that stings the most. Not knowing which parts of my life were genuine and which were theater. She was good at the act. Damn good. But there's a kind of power in surviving a betrayal like that. In knowing you walked through fire and didn't burn. You just shed the skin that held you back. I wasn't perfect. I made mistakes too. Maybe I worked too much. Maybe I got too comfortable. But I never disrespected her. Never violated her trust. And that's the line she crossed that I couldn't come back from. I saw Tyler once more, driving past in the Challenger, alone this time. No Ashley. No smug look. Just a quick glance and a blur of taillights. I wondered if she screwed him over too. Would have been poetic. But I didn't dwell. Because I was building something new now. Not just a home. Not just a routine. A life. One without secrets. Without lies. Without sleeping beside someone who smiled while carving me open. And for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. 2 months passed. I marked the time not with dates, but with small victories. The first time I woke up without thinking about her. The first night I came home and didn't feel the weight of silence. The first laugh that didn't carry guilt. And then came the court date. She arrived 10 minutes late, sunglasses on, holding some overpriced designer bag like it was a shield. Tyler wasn't with her. Neither was her lawyer. He had quit a week earlier, apparently after discovering she'd lied about nearly everything. Her new one was young, barely out of law school, with a file thin enough to be embarrassing. I sat across the room in a navy suit and calm shoulders. Ashley looked at me once. Just once. And I saw something different in her eyes. Not rage, not smugness. Just realization that the man sitting in front of her wasn't the same fool she'd once controlled with a smile and a tight dress. Court was short. The judge didn't buy her story about the shared account. He asked for transaction logs, which I had ready. He asked for proof of spyware, which I provided. Her lawyer tried to pivot, bringing up emotional neglect, but the judge cut it off with a sentence I'll never forget. Financial fraud, unauthorized access to private accounts, and deliberate manipulation are not excuses for infidelity. They're crimes. Case closed. She lost everything. What little she could have claimed from our prenup was void due to the fraud. No alimony. No rights to the house. Not even the car, which was in my name. She left that courthouse in silence. I didn't watch her walk away, because she didn't deserve a goodbye. That night, I went home, poured myself a drink, and turned on music, something old, something slow. I let it play while I sat outside on the patio, letting the chill bite my skin just enough to feel alive. The stars were out. Quiet. Unbothered. I thought about who I was before Ashley, and who I could be now that she was gone. She didn't destroy me. She exposed me. She peeled back layers I didn't know I had. Anger, patience, resilience. I'd always thought I was a man who avoided conflict. Turns out, I'm a man who endures it and walks out stronger. Friends started coming back around. I let them in, told them the truth. We drank, we laughed. Some were shocked. Most just said, we never liked her anyway. One night, I saw her name flash across my screen. Unknown number, but I knew. You don't forget the rhythm of a name that once mattered. I didn't answer. She called again the next day. Left a voicemail. Liam, I don't know what to say. I guess you got what you wanted. I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm sorry. I deleted it without listening to the end. Because sorry doesn't mean anything when it's hollow. Sorry doesn't glue broken trust back together. Sorry doesn't bring back the years I spent believing in a lie. And now? Now I live in truth. My mornings are quiet. My nights are peaceful. I started going on walks again, even joined a hiking group. There's a woman named Claire. She laughs easily, listens closely, and never makes me feel like I have to earn basic respect. We're not dating. Not yet. But for once, I'm not rushing. Not searching. Not fixing. Just living. And if I could tell anyone who's been where I've been one thing, it's this. Don't chase what broke you. Don't beg for clarity from chaos. Don't wait for apologies that will never come. Heal in silence. Build without them. And when they knock again, let the door stay closed. Because your peace? That's the real revenge. About 6 months out, I found myself laughing again. Real laughter, the kind that sneaks up on you when you're not thinking about the past. It happened while watching a bad movie with friends, the kind we used to tear apart for fun. I don't remember the movie. I remember the feeling. Like someone had taken a weight off my chest I didn't even know was still there. That's when I realized. Healing isn't one big moment. It's thousands of little ones that show up unannounced. Like the first time I passed by the restaurant Ashley and I used to go to every Friday night and didn't feel a damn thing. Or when I got rid of the couch she insisted on buying, the one she claimed was aesthetic but felt like sitting on concrete. Replaced it with something mine. Something comfortable. My world, once filled with her voice, her clothes, her perfume, her chaos, was finally quiet. But not empty. I started volunteering twice a week at a local community center. Nothing major, just helping kids with homework, running some fitness workshops. It felt good. Clean. Like I was rebuilding something real, not for anyone else's benefit. Just mine. One afternoon, I caught my reflection in the mirror, sweaty from a workout, hair a mess, a small cut on my knuckle from messing with gym equipment. And I smiled. Not because I looked good, but because I looked like me. Not the polished, controlled version Ashley liked to parade around. The real one. Unfiltered. Flawed. Free. Then came the message. A DM on Instagram, from a fake account with no profile picture. Just one line. You look happy. I missed that smile. I didn't need to ask who it was. I didn't reply. Instead, I archived it, turned off my phone, and went for a drive. Windows down, wind in my face, no destination. Just movement. Freedom. I ended up at a lookout point on the edge of the city, where the skyline shimmered under the setting sun like something from a movie. And that's when it hit me again. She didn't break me. She woke me up. Ashley forced me to rebuild, but in doing so, she gave me something I never would have taken on my own. Permission to let go. Let go of the version of love I thought I deserved. Let go of needing answers from someone who never had them. Let go of the fear that being alone meant being unworthy. I don't check her socials anymore. I don't ask friends if they've seen her. If she's happy, good. If she's still lying her way through life, that's not my burden to carry. What matters is this. I sleep soundly. I eat without knots in my stomach. I smile for no reason. And for the first time in years, I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because when you've already walked through hell, everything else is just noise. I've got a passport sitting on my desk now. Somewhere tropical, maybe. Or maybe just quiet. I haven't decided. All I know is, I'm going. Not to escape. Not to forget. But to celebrate. Because I made it. The end. It didn't come with fireworks. It didn't come with some final face-off or last call or desperate knock at my door. It came one morning, standing barefoot in my kitchen, sipping black coffee, listening to the hum of the world outside. No drama. No noise. Just me. Present. Whole. Undamaged. That was the real ending. Not when Ashley walked out. Not when the court made it official. Not even when her last message faded into the void. It ended the day I stopped needing revenge. The day I stopped looking backward. The day I realized I didn't survive her. I outgrew her. So if you're reading this, stuck in that in-between space, betrayed, confused, trying to make sense of something that makes no sense at all, let me leave you with this. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. Piece by piece. Day by day. And one morning, maybe sooner than you think, you'll wake up, take a deep breath, and realize it's over. And you won.